the Greco-Persian Wars, a saga of valor and sacrifice, unfolded from 499 to 449 BCE, marking a pivotal era in ancient history that shaped the destiny of civilizations. This epic conflict brewed in the winds of ambition, fueled by the expansive reach of the mighty Persian Empire and the fiercely independent spirit of the Greek city-states. It was a struggle not merely for land or power, but for identity, freedom, and the very essence of human dignity. The tinder for this conflagration was lit during the Ionian Revolt, as the Greek city-states along the coast of Asia Minor found themselves shackled under the Persian yoke. In their quest for autonomy, the Ionians raised their voices in rebellion, crying out against the heavy burdens of foreign rule. The flames of discontent flickered brightly, and soon Athens heeded their call, sending ships to support these brave souls. But as the revolt was quashed, the Persian forces solidified their grip, sowing the seeds of further conflict. In the shadows of vengeance, Darius I, the mighty king of Persia, set his sights on the heart of Greece, determined to crush the flickering embers of defiance. In 490 BCE, he dispatched a formidable army to exact retribution for the Athenian support of the Ionians. Yet, at the Battle of Marathon, the Athenians, fueled by unyielding courage, stood as titans against the enormous Persian force. Against all odds, they emerged victorious, their spirits soaring like the banners they flew. The bravery and sacrifice of those warriors kindled a flame of hope, illuminating a path toward freedom. Yet the storm was not quelled. Following the death of Darius, his son Xerxes I ascended the throne, his heart burning for vengeance. In 480 BCE, he unleashed a vast army, a horde that swept across the land like a dark shadow. Greeks trembled at the thought of the Titan's wrath, yet their heartbeats echoed a different tune, a chorus of resistance that would not be broken. Thus commenced the legendary Battle of Thermopylae, where King Leonidas of Sparta and his valiant warriors, mere 300 in number, stood as an enduring symbol of defiance. Like a wall of stone, they held the narrow pass against the tide of the Persian army, fighting with courage that coursed through their veins. Their sacrifice resonated through history, reminding all that true valor lies in standing firm for one's beliefs, even in the face of certain defeat. Meanwhile, in the seas surrounding Greece, the naval engagement at Artemisium unfolded, where Greek ships engaged the Persian fleet in fierce combat. Although not victorious in that encounter, the Greeks underlined the significance of strategy and unity in their struggle against a greater foe. As the Persian forces captured Athens, the flames engulfed the city, but the heart of Greece could not be extinguished. It was in the narrow straits of Salamis that the tide began to turn. In a daring feat of bravery and cunning, Themistocles led the Athenian fleet to an extraordinary victory against the Persian navy. The waters were churned with the clash of oars and the cries of warriors as the Greeks outmaneuvered the larger force, their triumph sending ripples of hope across the shores of Hellenic pride. Victorious, they sent Xerxes retreating, the echoes of his army fading into the annals of history. The final clash took place at Plataea in 479 BCE, a gathering of the allied Greek forces that united against their common enemy. Here, amidst the banners flying and the clash of arms, the Spartans and Athenians, once rivals, became brothers in arms. Their combined might broke the back of the Persian invasion, leaving in its wake a legacy of resilience that would be told for generations. The fields of Plataea turned crimson, a testament to the price paid for liberty, yet the seeds of freedom were sown. The aftermath unfolded as the Peace of Callias was signed in 449 BCE, where the mighty Persian Empire renounced all claims to the Aegean Islands and the Greek city-states of Asia Minor. With the shadow of tyranny lifted, the Greek city-states emerged as vibrant bastions of culture, philosophy, and democracy. The victories gained during this era birthed artistic flourishing and intellectual exploration, ushering in the Golden Age of Athens, a time when the arts and ideas flourished and the human spirit triumphed. The Greco-Persian Wars were more than mere battles waged. They embodied a clash of ideals, of freedom against the weight of oppression, of the human heart's unwavering quest for dignity. The bravery of those who fought became woven into the very fabric of Greek identity, echoing their deeds through the ages in tales of courage and sacrifice. The valor of the warriors at Marathon, Thermopylae, and Plataea stands as a tribute to the enduring spirit of humanity. a reminder that in the dance between fear and hope, love for freedom ignites the fire that can change the course of history. Thus, the legacy of the Greco-Persian Wars is forever etched in the annals of time, echoing through the corridors of history, inspiring countless generations to believe in the power of unity, to cherish the ideals of democracy, and to understand that even against overwhelming odds, the human spirit can rise, fierce and resolute, fighting for love, for identity, and for the enduring dream of freedom. The Muslim Conquests, a sweeping and transformative wave of military campaigns that began in the 7th century, echoed across vast stretches of land and time, reshaping the very fabric of history. These conquests unfolded in the wake of the founding of Islam by the Prophet Muhammad, whose teachings ignited a fervent belief that compelled his followers to spread their faith and establish a new order across the Arabian Peninsula and beyond. What began as a community of believers soon evolved into a formidable power, united by faith and purpose. In the years following Muhammad's passing in 632 CE, a fervent zeal enveloped the early Muslims. The Rashidun Caliphs, the first 4 successors of Muhammad, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, embarked on a divine mission. Their leadership was marked by both spiritual devotion and strategic brilliance. As the new caliphate emerged from the shadows of tribal divisions, it set its sights on the crumbling empires of the Byzantine and Sasanian realms. Their banners, emblazoned with the call to faith, fluttered in the winds of ambition, heralding an age of expansion. The first major campaign, known as the Ridda Wars, unfolded as a testament to unity and resolve. Following Muhammad's death, several Arabian tribes renounced their allegiance. In a fierce reaffirmation of faith, Abu Bakr rallied the forces of Islam, leading them against those who had turned away. This was not merely a battle for territory. It was a profound struggle for the integrity of a nascent community. The steadfastness of the early Muslim warriors illuminated the path forward, quelling the dissent and re-establishing the unity of the Ummah, the community of believers. With the Arabian Peninsula secured, the Caliphate turned its gaze westward toward the Byzantine Empire, whose once mighty hold was faltering. In 636 CE, the Battle of Yarmouk became a defining moment, an epic clash between the forces of Islam and the remnants of Byzantine power. With grit and courage, the Muslim army, though smaller in numbers, displayed extraordinary tactical brilliance as they navigated the rugged terrain. They fought not just for conquest, but for a belief, a vision that transcended earthly realms. In the heat of battle, as swords clashed and cries of warriors filled the air, the tides of fate shifted. When the dust settled, the Byzantine forces were routed, leaving the path to Syria wide open for the advancing Muslims. Following the victory at Yarmouk, the cities of Damascus and Jerusalem fell under the banner of Islam. Each conquest was marked not solely by military might, but also by acts of diplomacy and respect for the traditions of conquered peoples. The Muslim leaders, embodying principles of justice and compassion, offered protection to the inhabitants, allowing them to practice their faith while integrating into the burgeoning Islamic society. Across the Persian front, the Sasanian Empire crumbled under the weight of the Muslim advance. The monumental Battle of Qadisiyah in 636 CE was a decisive encounter that sealed the fate of Persia. Here, the fervor of the Muslim forces met the might of the Persian legions, their clash reverberating through the annals of time. The desert winds whispered tales of valor as the Muslim warriors, fueled by faith, overcame the odds, leading to the fall of Ctesiphon, the grand capital of Persia. The vast regions of Mesopotamia soon lay within the fold of the Caliphate, forging a new chapter in the tapestry of human history. Yet, the conquests were not merely expansive. They bore the gift of cultural exchange. As the Muslim armies surged into new territories, they brought with them the teachings of Islam, a profound philosophy that emphasized knowledge, compassion, and community. From the sciences to the arts, the civilizations that fell under their influence began to flourish anew. Intellectual luminaries arose, driven by curiosity and inspired by the quest for knowledge, as libraries filled with the wisdom of ages past. The subsequent Umayyad Caliphate, emerging from the crucible of conquest, expanded the horizons of the Muslim world further still. From the Iberian Peninsula in the west to the Indus Valley in the east, the caliphate stretched like a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of diverse cultures, languages, and traditions. Amid the grandeur of the Alhambra and the echoing halls of Cordoba's great mosque, a synthesis of ideas took form, fueling the Renaissance that would later sweep through Europe. However, the conquests were not devoid of conflict or challenge. Within the heart of the growing empire, tensions simmered. The struggle between the Umayyads and their rivals, notably the Abbasids, unveiled the complexities of governance and identity that came with such rapid expansion. Revolts and internal strife would shape the future of the Islamic world. As the fundamental question arose, what does it mean to be a part of this new, sprawling community? Despite these challenges, the legacies of the Muslim conquests endure. The spread of Islam transformed not only religion but also culture, shaping art, architecture, philosophy, and science for centuries. It laid the groundwork for one of the greatest empires in history and established systems of trade and communication that connected distant lands. The Silk Road flourished as the exchange of goods and ideas facilitated a cultural dialogue that sought to bridge divides. At its heart, the story of the Muslim conquests is one of an unquenchable thirst for faith, knowledge, and identity. It is punctuated by moments of valor, a tapestry of heroism and vision that reshaped the world. The cries of warriors, the ink of scholars, and the whispers of poets remind us that every conquest came with consequences, each victory sketched onto the vast canvas of history that defines human experience. In the wake of these monumental events, the world saw not only new borders, but also the birth of a new era. The lessons learned from the convergence of cultures continue to resonate in our modern consciousness, reminding us of the transformative power of belief, the richness of diversity, and the enduring strength found in unity. As we reflect upon this chapter of history, we are left with a profound understanding. The legacy of the Muslim conquests is not merely a tale of expansion, but a testament to the shared aspirations of humanity, striving for greatness amidst the challenges that bind us all. The Peloponnesian War, a protracted and devastating conflict that erupted between 431 and 404 BCE, carved a profound chasm in the ancient Greek world, reshaping the very fabric of city-states and altering the course of history. This war was not merely a clash of armies. It encapsulated a struggle for power, ideology, and identity, pitting the democratic might of Athens against the oligarchic strength of Sparta and its allies. The echoes of this pivotal conflict resonate through the annals of time, leaving a legacy of both tragedy and introspection. The roots of the Peloponnesian War lay in the fierce competition and rivalry that had simmered in the aftermath of the Persian Wars. Athens, emerging from those struggles with newfound confidence and power, established the Delian League, a coalition of city-states united under its leadership. This alliance, initially formed as a defense against potential Persian aggression, soon morphed into an instrument of Athenian imperialism. The once idealistic pursuit of collective security evolved, as smaller city-states became subjects to Athenian control, sparking resentment and fear among the Spartans and their allies in the Peloponnesian League. Tensions grew as conflict erupted over myriad grievances related to trade, tariffs, and territorial disputes. The most significant flashpoint arose in 431 BCE with the conflict over Corinth and its ally, Epidamnus, which drew Athens into a direct confrontation with Spartan interests. Speeches filled with fervor and resolve rang through the city-states as leaders rallied their citizens to arms, envisioning glory in battle and the preservation of their way of life. Thus began the war, marked by two distinct phases. The Archidamian War, named after the Spartan king Archidamus II, was characterized by a series of bold campaigns and tactical maneuvers. Sparta, known for its formidable army and military discipline, launched invasions into Athenian territory, while Athens, relying on its superior naval power, retaliated by raiding the Peloponnesian coasts. Villages were ravaged, crops destroyed, and lives shattered on both sides, as the war extended its merciless grip. Amidst the chaos and destruction, the plague of Athens struck in 430 BCE, a cruel twist of fate that ravaged the city and claimed thousands of lives, including the influential statesman Pericles. The outbreak underscored the human cost of war and tested the resilience of Athenian democracy. Pericles, ever the visionary, had urged the Athenians to focus on their naval strengths and avoid land confrontations with Sparta. Yet as the plague set in, despair echoed through the once thriving city, and divisions began to emerge. As the war dragged on, a turbulent second phase unfolded, marked by the Sicilian expedition, a disastrous campaign launched by Athens in 415 BCE aimed at conquering Sicily and expanding Athenian influence. The Athenian fleet, once the pride of the empire, faced a catastrophic defeat, with thousands killed or captured. Ambitions of grandeur were met with the harsh reality of military overreach, as the expedition ended in calamity, leaving Athens vulnerable and weakened. In the face of adversity, Sparta sought to adapt and evolve. Forming alliances with Persia provided the resources necessary to challenge Athenian supremacy at sea. The tides of war shifted once more, as Spartan forces grew bolder, launching attacks on Athenian-controlled regions and systematically dismantling their power. The Battle of Aegospotami in 405 BCE became the penultimate clash, sealing Athens' fate as the Spartan fleet delivered a crushing blow that culminated in the blockade and siege of the city. As Athens fell, the city that once symbolized democracy and cultural zenith crumbled under the weight of its losses. With the walls breached and the spirit of the Athenian people shattered, the war drew to a close. The harsh terms of surrender imposed by Sparta not only extinguished Athenian power, but also cast a shadow over the ideals of democracy that had flourished in its embrace. The once great city fell into a period of turmoil, marred by oligarchy and internal strife, as the ideals of freedom and civic responsibility lay in ruin. The Peloponnesian War left an indelible mark on the Greek world, as the flames of conflict illuminated the complexities of human ambition and folly. Historians like Thucydides, who chronicled the war with meticulous detail, sought to unravel the intricate interplay of power, justice, and moral decay. His writings serve as both a historical account and a philosophical reflection on the nature of humanity in the face of war, encapsulating the tragic consequences that arise from hubris, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of control. Amidst the ashes of defeat, the echoes of the Peloponnesian War remind us of the transient nature of power and the fragility of ideals. The once vibrant city-states, once confident in their identities, were forever altered by the scars of conflict. The ideals of democracy, so enthusiastically embraced by Athens, faced scrutiny as the specter of tyranny loomed large, sowing seeds of division and distrust. As time unfurled its relentless march, the lessons of the Peloponnesian War reverberated across generations. The story of this epic conflict serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the potential for greatness intertwined with the propensity for destruction. In the dance of power and ambition, it underscores the profound truth that the path to unity is often fraught with peril, and the pursuit of hegemony can yield catastrophic consequences that echo through the corridors of history. In reflecting upon this tumultuous chapter, we find not only the story of war and its inevitable toll, but also the enduring human spirit striving to navigate the complexities of governance, loyalty, and identity. The Peloponnesian War stands as a testament to the resilience of human character, a somber reminder that in the grand narratives of history, the quest for understanding, unity, and peace is as vital as the aspirations that first set us on this tumultuous journey. The Maurya-Nanda War, a pivotal conflict in ancient Indian history, unfolded in the 4th century BCE as a dramatic showdown between two powerful dynasties, the Mauryas and the Nandas. This war not only marked the rise of the Maurya Empire, but also set the stage for significant political and cultural transformations in ancient India. The tides of ambition, rivalry, and strategy would intertwine, leading to a momentous change that echoed through the ages. In the heart of North India, the Nanda dynasty had established itself as a formidable force, ruling over a vast territory with wealth and military strength. Their reign was characterized by effective administration and prosperity, but it was also marred by a reputation for tyranny and taxation that bred discontent among the populace. The Nandas, particularly the last ruler Dhanananda, were seen as oppressive rulers, which sowed the seeds of rebellion and discontent in the hearts of the people. Amidst the turmoil emerged Chandragupta Maurya, a young leader of humble origins. Inspired by the teachings of the wise philosopher Chanakya, who sought to overthrow the Nandas, Chandragupta was fueled by a vision of uniting India under a new banner, one that promised justice, prosperity, and a return to the Dharma, or righteousness, that seemed lost under Nanda rule. Chanakya, a brilliant strategist and the mastermind behind the Maurya rebellion, guided and empowered Chandragupta with his wisdom and tactical insight. This alliance of ambition and strategy set the stage for a conflict that would change the course of history. Under the banner of rebellion, Chandragupta raised an army composed of brave warriors eager for change and weary of Nanda oppression. The drums of war began to sound as they prepared to march against the Nanda stronghold, signaling the dawn of a fierce struggle. The war itself was marked by several significant battles, each a fierce clash of wills where the fervor for change battled against entrenched power. The forces of Chandragupta, motivated by aspirations of a liberated India, faced the might of the Nanda army, which had been trained for years in the arts of warfare and strategy. The battlefield became a crucible where resolve and strategy were tested, as both sides engaged in a deadly dance of tactical maneuvers and fortitude. One of the turning points in the war was a series of guerrilla tactics employed by Chandragupta's forces, as they disrupted supply lines and ambushed Nanda troops. The Nandas, whose strength lay in conventional warfare, found themselves grappling with an unexpected adversary adept at subterfuge and cunning. The wisdom of Chanakya proved indispensable. His strategies became the lifeline for the Mauryan forces, enabling them to outsmart their larger and more powerful opponents. As the conflict raged on, the wheels of destiny turned irrevocably in favor of Chandragupta. The determination of his men, coupled with the crumbling reputation of Dhanananda, fueled their resolve. The populace, unhappy under Nanda rule, began to rally behind Chandragupta, providing him not only with soldiers, but also with information about the intricacies of the Nanda kingdom. With each skirmish, the tides began to shift, illustrating the power of popular support in shaping the course of the war. In an explosive crescendo, the Maurya-Nanda War reached its climax in a climactic battle where the forces clashed with fervor and desperation. The weight of history rested upon the shoulders of Chandragupta, who fought not merely for himself, but for a vision of a united India, where justice and equity would reign. His resolve was reflected in the bravery of his troops, who charged forward with unwavering spirit, propelling them toward victory. At long last, the walls of the Nanda stronghold fell, Dhanananda was defeated, bringing an end to the Nanda dynasty that had long taxed the people's resilience. The Maurya victory was not just the overthrow of a ruler. It embodied the hopes and aspirations of a nation yearning for rights and dignity. Thus, Chandragupta ascended the throne as the first emperor of the Maurya Empire, his rule signifying a new dawn for India. In the aftermath of the war, the Maurya Empire grew, ushering in a period of remarkable political consolidation, economic prosperity, and cultural flourishing. Chandragupta, and later his grandson Ashoka, would construct a vast realm that embraced the ideals of governance rooted in justice and dharma. Under Ashoka, the empire would reach monumental heights, fostering religious tolerance and promoting the spread of Buddhism across Asia. The Maurya-Nanda War remains a significant chapter in the saga of Indian history, a tale of courage, strategy, and transformation. It illustrates the timeless struggle against oppression and the power of visionary leadership. Chandragupta's rise from humble origins to emperorship speaks volumes of the potential for change that can arise from the frustrations of a populace yearning for justice and equity. Thus, the legacy of the Maurya-Nanda War is woven into the very fabric of Indian civilization, echoing through time as a reminder of the dynamics of power, the importance of leadership, and the enduring hope for a just and unified society. In this epic telling, we find not merely the story of a conflict over territory, but a powerful narrative of aspiration and identity that continues to inspire generations to rise against oppression and seek truth in their paths. The The Punic Wars, a trio of cataclysmic conflicts that unfolded between 264 and 146 BCE, stand as a defining saga in the annals of ancient history, illustrating the fierce rivalry between two powerful civilizations, Rome and Carthage. This epic struggle, marked by ambition and resilience, reverberated across the Mediterranean, shaping the course of Western civilization as it transitioned from a collection of city-states into a dominant empire. The origins of the Punic Wars lay in the shadows of economic competition and territorial ambition. Carthage, a wealthy Phoenician city-state located in present-day Tunisia, had become a formidable maritime power. Its influence stretched across the Mediterranean, casting a shadow over burgeoning Rome, which at the time was a rising republic focused on expanding its territory and influence. The tensions between these two powers ignited when disputes arose over control of Sicily, a strategic and resource-rich island that beckoned both for its fertile lands and vital trade routes. The First Punic War erupted in 264 BCE, marked by the clash of swords and ships. As Rome sought to challenge Carthaginian dominance of the seas, their path led them to the shores of Sicily, where naval battles raged with staggering ferocity. Carthage, with its experienced navy, initially held the advantage, while Rome, relatively inexperienced in naval warfare, rapidly adapted. Undeterred by challenges, the Romans innovated, constructing a formidable fleet and devising the corvus, a boarding device that turned sea battles into land engagements. In an act of sheer determination, Rome's navy began to tip the scales, clashing against Carthaginian galleys in fierce engagements. The struggle for Sicily unfolded over years of conflict, marked by notable battles such as the Battle of Mylae and the Battle of Lilybaeum. With each clash, the resilience of both sides was tested to its limits. The war dragged on, consuming resources and lives, until finally, in 241 BCE, the tide turned decisively in Rome's favor. Following the fall of Lilybaeum, Carthage, weary and battered, sought peace, relinquishing its rights to Sicily and paying a hefty indemnity. The Roman legions, having tasted victory, were emboldened, their ambitions now poised to expand further into the Mediterranean. Yet, the peace was temporary, a fragile veil over the simmering hostilities that lay beneath. The Second Punic War would erupt as Rome's vigor conflicted with Carthage's desire for revenge. At the heart of this conflict stood the legendary general Hannibal Barca, a man of unrivaled military brilliance and fierce loyalty to Carthage. His father had instilled a deep-seated enmity towards Rome in Hannibal, leading him to vow eternal hostility against the Republic. In 218 BCE, Hannibal unleashed his audacious plan for revenge by invading Italy from the north, famously crossing the treacherous Alps with a formidable army accompanied by war elephants. The sight of these majestic beasts surmounting the rugged mountain terrain became a symbol of his determination and strategic ingenuity. Upon entering the Italian peninsula, Hannibal struck with ruthless precision, scoring dramatic victories at the battles of Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and the infamous Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, where he encircled and annihilated a Roman legions that vastly outnumbered him. Hannibal's campaign became a double-edged sword. While his tactical brilliance shone brightly, Rome's spirit proved resilient. They had suffered great losses, yet rather than succumbing to despair, Rome adapted its strategies and sought out formidable commanders like Scipio Africanus. As Hannibal's forces ravaged Italy, the Romans adopted a strategy of attrition, avoiding direct confrontation with Hannibal and instead targeting Carthaginian holdings abroad. This shift in tactics slowly chipped away at Carthage's power. The tide of the war would turn in 2002 BCE at the Battle of Zama, outside Carthage itself. In a stunning display of military prowess, Scipio confronted Hannibal and demonstrated the strategic brilliance that had eluded Rome for years. With keen insight, Scipio neutralized Hannibal's war elephants and utilized well-coordinated formations that capitalized on the Carthaginian vulnerabilities. The decisive victory at Zama broke Carthage's spirit, forcing their surrender and effectively ending the Second Punic War. Rome emerged not merely as a victor, but as a dominant Mediterranean power, reeling from the glory of conquest. Yet, the embers of conflict were not extinguished entirely. The Third Punic War began in 149 BCE, fueled by fear and resentment. Rome, convinced that Carthage could never be fully subdued while it still existed, launched a campaign to annihilate the city once and for all. The Roman Senate, driven by the desire for complete dominance, viewed Carthage as a lingering threat that needed to be extinguished. After a bitter 3-year siege, the once great city fell in 146 BCE. The Romans razed Carthage to the ground, symbolically sealing the end of an era. The soil was reportedly sown with salt, a poignant metaphor for ensuring that the city would never rise again. The destruction of Carthage marked a monumental turning point in history. With its defeat, Rome solidified its position as the preeminent power in the Mediterranean, its influence spreading across continents. As the Roman Republic transitioned into an empire, the lessons of the Punic Wars resonated through its history. Tales of courage, resilience, the horrors of war, and the tragic cost of vengeance. The Punic Wars continue to echo through time, shaping the discourse on strategy, diplomacy, and the complexities of human ambition. Historians and scholars reflect on the intense rivalry that unfolded, exploring the profound themes of power, fate, and the human condition. The legacy of these wars serves as both a reminder of the brutal realities of conflict and a testament to the resilience of civilizations. In the shadows of victory and defeat, the Punic Wars illuminated the saga of human struggle, an enduring narrative that compels us to reflect on the price of ambition, the lessons of history, and the eternal quest for power, identity, and legacy. As we look back on this turbulent chapter, we find not just the blare of trumpets heralding triumph, but the haunting whispers of lives lost and the acknowledgement of the fragile nature of peace amidst the ever-turning wheel of ambition. The Qin Wars of Unification, a series of fierce and transformative conflicts that unfolded from 230 to 221 BCE, marked a decisive moment in Chinese history. These wars not only heralded the rise of the Qin dynasty, but also laid the foundation for a unified China, reshaping the political landscape and cultural identity of the region. The tumult of this era was filled with ambition, military prowess, and strategic brilliance, leading to the creation of a centralized state that would influence the trajectory of Chinese civilization for centuries to come. At the dawn of the 3rd century BCE, China was fragmented into numerous warring states, each vying for dominance in a relentless struggle, often referred to as the Warring States period. Among them, the state of Qin emerged from the shadows, driven by a vision of unification under a singular imperial banner. The Qin were not only aggressive conquerors, but also adept administrators, employing innovative strategies that combined military might with effective governance. The ascent of Qin began under the leadership of King Zheng, who would later become known as Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Determined to unify the disparate states, Zheng sought to consolidate power through a series of military campaigns against the neighboring states of Zhao, Wei, Han, Chu, and Yan. These campaigns were characterized by a ruthless efficiency, marked by both planning and the willingness to engage in brutal warfare. The Qin forces advanced with remarkable speed and determination, utilizing a well-trained and disciplined army equipped with advanced weaponry and strategies. Harnessing the innovation of crossbows and cavalry, the Qin military struck against their foes with a ferocity that left neighboring states reeling. The battles fought during this time were not merely simple skirmishes. They were grand clashes of ideologies and destinies. The Qin armies plowed through their adversaries, demonstrating tactical ingenuity that reshaped the very art of war in ancient China. One of the most significant campaigns occurred in the conquest of the state of Zhao. The conflict culminated in the legendary Battle of Changping in 260 BCE, where the Qin forces faced a formidable Zhao army. This battle was marked by a relentless pursuit and a drawn-out siege, as the Qin demonstrated both cunning strategy and ruthless endurance. In a decisive victory, the Qin forces captured over 400,000 Zhao soldiers, leading to a historic turning point that would demoralize their compatriots and pave the way for Qin dominance. As the dust settled on the battlefield, the Qin's relentless campaign continued. Taking advantage of their victories, they absorbed the territories of neighboring states one by one. The state of Han fell in 230 BCE, followed by the decisive defeat of Wei in 225 BCE, and the formidable state of Chu in 223 BCE. With each conquest, the Qin territory expanded, and Zheng's dream of unification began to take shape. However, the consolidation of power did not come without its challenges. The Qin faced resistance from the conquered peoples, often met with fierce local uprisings and insurrections. Yet, through it all, Qin Shi Huang's vision of a unified China spurred him forward. After each victory, he implemented systemic reforms, standardizing measurements, currency, and even the script used across the empire, fostering a sense of shared identity that transcended regional differences. The Yellow River and Yangtze River valleys, once divided by conflict, began to flow together under the banner of a singular state. In 221 BCE, after years of conflict and a relentless push toward unification, Qin Shi Huang declared himself the first emperor of China, marking the end of the warring states period. The unification of China under the Qin dynasty was not merely an accomplishment of military prowess. It signified a monumental shift, a revolution that sought to create a unified empire that could endure the tests of time. Yet, the harsh methods employed by the Qin dynasty to maintain control, including censorship, forced labor, and severe punishments, sparked resentment among the populace. While Qin Shi Huang's vision was one of centralized power and prosperity, the means to achieve this vision often invoked fear rather than loyalty. The ambitious emperor undertook grandiose projects, including the construction of the Great Wall to shield against northern invasions, and the famous Terracotta Army to guard his tomb, reflecting both the might and the burdens of imperial ambition. As time passed, the Qin dynasty faced the bitter consequences of its oppressive policies. The very essence of unity that Zheng sought began to erode under the weight of strife and rebellion. Following the death of Qin Shi Huang in 210 BCE, the empire spiraled into chaos, culminating in widespread uprisings that eventually led to the dynasty's swift collapse in 207 BCE. The dream of a unified China, albeit short-lived under the Qin, inspired future generations and subsequent emperors, ultimately paving the way for the Han dynasty and the establishment of a more enduring empire. The Qin Wars of Unification remain a significant chapter in the saga of Chinese history. These conflicts exemplify the complex interplay of ambition, strategy, and the relentless human spirit. Through the lens of war, they revealed not only the costs of conquest, but also the profound aspiration for unity and identity that resonates through time. In the annals of history, the legacy of the Qin Wars serves as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made for the sake of unity. It illustrates that while the quest for power may bring forth great empires, it is ultimately the balance of governance and the welfare of the people that determines the enduring success of a state. As we reflect on this tumultuous era, we discover a narrative entwined with both the glory of conquest and the lessons learned from the complexities of human ambition, forming the foundation upon which one of the oldest continuous civilizations would rise and flourish, one marked by both triumph and tragedy. The Battle of Talas, fought in 751 CE near the banks of the Talas River in present-day Kazakhstan, stands as a pivotal moment in history, encapsulating the clash of empires and the profound cultural exchanges that would shape the future. This fierce confrontation marked a significant turning point in the ongoing struggle for dominance between two powerful forces, the expanding Abbasid Caliphate and the Tang dynasty of China. The backdrop to this epic conflict arose against the swirling tapestry of the Silk Road, a vibrant network of trade routes that connected East and West, facilitating not only the exchange of goods, but also of ideas, cultures, and technologies. The Tang dynasty, at its zenith, sought to extend its influence westward, driven by ambitions of control over trade routes and the lucrative gains associated with them. Meanwhile, the Abbasids were consolidating their power in the Middle East, having overthrown the Umayyad Caliphate in a revolution that promised newfound prosperity and cultural flowering. As the armies of the Abbasids and the Tang drew closer, the stakes became monumental. The Abbasid forces, led by the general Ziyad ibn Salih, were diverse and included seasoned warriors from various regions, bolstered by local allies who recognized the potential of Abbasid rule in fostering trade and stability. The Tang forces, commanded by the formidable general Gao Xianji, were equally impressive, boasting disciplined infantry and cavalry renowned for their combat prowess and tactical acumen. The encounter at Talas unfolded with the roar of war drums and the clash of steel, reverberating across the valleys as the two empires clashed in a violent struggle for supremacy. The battlefield was a panorama of tumult, with warriors charging against one another and the air thick with tension and valor. The Tang dynasty's military reputation for discipline and sophistication clashed with the fervor of the Abbasid forces, who aimed to demonstrate their strength. Despite the Tang's formidable defenses and strategic positioning, the battle proved to be a turning point due to the unforeseen complexities of warfare. Key to this confrontation was not merely brute force, but the alliances that were forged in the heat of battle. As the day wore on, an unexpected faction, the Tibetan forces, would enter the fray, shifting the balance of power dramatically. The Tibetans, motivated by their own ambitions and historical animosities towards the Tang, allied with the Abbasids, striking a decisive blow to the Tang forces. The outcome of the Battle of Talas was a hard-fought victory for the Abbasids, but the implications stretched far beyond the battlefield. The defeat of the Tang forces marked a retreat from their ambitions to control Central Asia, significantly altering trade dynamics and the power structures within the region. It became a moment of profound historical consequence, ushering in a new era characterized by emerging influences and the weaving of diverse cultures. The aftermath of the battle bore fruit beyond military triumph. In the wake of victory, the Abbasids not only expanded their territorial reach, but also facilitated the introduction of paper-making technology to the Islamic world. Captured Chinese artisans were instrumental in transferring this skill, which would revolutionize communication and information dissemination across empires. This significant exchange underscored the transformative nature of the Silk Road, where war and culture intertwined, leading to advancements that would have cascading effects across continents for generations to come. Moreover, the Battle of Talas symbolized the opening of new cultural horizons, fostering a mingling of artistic styles, philosophies, and religious practices that transcended borders. The trade routes that had linked the East and West for centuries would continue to thrive, albeit under a new paradigm, as the Abbasid Caliphate became a flourishing center of knowledge, science, and cultural exchange. The fusion of ideas, bringing the wisdom of Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism into dialogue with Islamic thought, set the stage for a rich tapestry of intellectual inquiry that would flourish in the centuries that followed. In retrospect, the Battle of Talas is not merely remembered as a military confrontation, but as a crossroads of civilizations, a testament to the complexities of human ambition and the intricate networks that link societies across time and space. It reminds us that while war may yield immediate outcomes, it also creates the conditions for exchange, growth, and shared human experience. As we reflect on this pivotal event, we uncover the layers of its significance, an enduring reminder that history is interwoven with threads of conflict and cooperation, where cultures collide and yet forever change one another. The legacy of Talas serves as a beacon to modern societies, illustrating how the ripples of a single battle can reverberate across millennia, shaping the destinies of peoples and the paths of nations. In the end, the sands of the Talas battlefield whisper stories not just of conquest, but of connection, collaboration, and the enduring quest for knowledge that spans the fabric of human history. The Three Kingdoms Wars, a tumultuous period of conflict and intrigue in ancient China that unfolded from 184 to 280 CE, epitomizes the clash of ambition, loyalty, and the relentless pursuit of power. This era, immortalized in the historical novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, saw the fragmentation of the Han dynasty and the rise of three rival kingdoms, Wei, Shu, and Wu. The wars that defined this epic were not merely battles on the battlefield. They were profound struggles for control of a nation and the ideals that would shape its future. As the Han dynasty, once a symbol of unity and prosperity, unraveled under the weight of corruption, court intrigues, and famine, the seeds of chaos were sown. The once great empire fell into a confluence of strife, marked by widespread rebellion. The Yellow Turban Rebellion of 184 CE was a harbinger of the brewing storm, as peasants rose against the oppressive rule of corrupt officials, demanding justice and reform. the Han government struggled to maintain order, leading to the rise of powerful warlords who seized control of territories, seeking to fill the vacuum left by a crumbling central authority. Among these warlords stood Cao Cao, the ambitious leader of the Wei Kingdom, whose tactical brilliance and ruthlessness allowed him to consolidate power across the northern plains. A formidable strategist, Cao Cao was driven by a vision of reunifying China under his rule, employing both military might and cunning diplomacy to strengthen his position. Yet, he faced significant rivals, most notably Liu Bei, the charismatic leader of the Shu Kingdom, and Sun Quan, the ruler of Wu. Each leader aspired for glory, legitimacy, and the dream of restoring the Han dynasty. The conflict escalated as alliances formed and fractured, with shifting loyalties and betrayals marking the unfolding drama. The epic Battle of Red Cliffs in 208 CE became a defining moment in the saga of the Three Kingdoms. In this pivotal confrontation, the combined forces of Liu Bei and Sun Quan faced off against Cao Cao's vast army, which sought to subdue the south and secure an empire under his command. The landscape, a tapestry of rivers and forests, served as the stage for one of the most famous battles in Chinese history. Cao Cao, confident in his numerical superiority, advanced into the territory of the south, filled with ambitions of conquest. However, underestimated by Cao Cao, the alliance between Liu Bei and Sun Quan embraced the strategic advantage of the terrain and the tumultuous winds of fate. In a masterstroke of military strategy, they set fire to Cao Cao's fleet on the Yangtze River, turning the tides of battle. The flames reflected the desperation and valor of the southern forces, consuming Cao Cao's hopes of domination. The victory at Red Cliffs not only halted Cao Cao's advance, but also solidified the alliance between Liu Bei and Sun Quan. It marked a turning point in the Three Kingdoms Wars, a moment when the spirit of resistance ignited and the path toward divided power was set. The battle's echoes resonated far beyond military might. They became a symbol of hope for many who yearned for a return to stability and justice. As the wars continued, the Three Kingdoms of Wei, Shu, and Wu established their identities, marked by ambition and rivalry. The political landscape became a web of intrigue, with leaders employing cunning strategies, espionage, and alliances that fostered both cooperation and betrayal. Liu Bei sought legitimacy by claiming to be a descendant of the Han royal family, striving to position Shu as the rightful heir to the Han legacy, while Sun Quan consolidated power in the south, ensuring Wu's survival and independence. The conflict brought forth legendary figures, whose stories would be forever etched in history. Zhuge Liang, Liu Bei's brilliant strategist, emerged as a paragon of wisdom and loyalty, renowned for his strategic brilliance and foresight. His infamous memorial on the empty city, where he tricked a rival general into retreating by feigning a lack of defenses through cunning deception, became a hallmark of his legacy. Similarly, the fierce warrior Guan Yu, known for his valor and oaths of brotherhood, would inspire generations as the embodiment of loyalty and righteousness. Yet, as the saga of the Three Kingdoms unfolded, the cycle of conquest and loss took a toll. The kingdoms faced internal strife, as power struggles erupted and ambitions clashed amidst a backdrop of war. The initial dreams of unity and stability were often overshadowed by bloodshed, loss, and the relentless pursuit of revenge. Ultimately, the tides of fate shifted once more. Wei, under the control of Cao Cao's successors, gained significant power and began to consolidate authority over the rival kingdoms. The ambitious warlord Sima Yi, a key figure in Wei, would masterfully navigate the political landscape, ultimately paving the way for the eventual fall of the rival states. In a swift maneuver, his descendants established the Qin dynasty, marking the end of the Three Kingdoms era in 280 CE. The conclusion of the Three Kingdoms Wars signified more than the resurgence of a single dynasty. It encapsulated the enduring human struggle for power, identity, and the quest for justice. The legacy of this tumultuous period reverberated through history and literature, inspiring countless works reflecting on the themes of loyalty, bravery, and the heartbreaking complexities of human ambition. In the end, the saga of the Three Kingdoms is both an epic tale of conflict and a poignant reflection on the nature of governance, society, and the bonds that bind us. it serves as a reminder that history is not merely the recounting of battles won or lost, but a rich narrative woven from the human experiences of aspiration, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of unity amidst the chaos of division. As we look back on this storied epic, we recognize its profound impact on the cultural identity of China, an indelible testament to the human spirit that continues to resonate through the ages. The Byzantine-Sassanid Wars, an epic series of conflicts spanning from 602 to 628 CE, marked a monumental struggle for supremacy between two of the most powerful empires of the ancient world: the Byzantine Empire, the eastern remnant of the Roman Empire, and the Sassanid Empire, the last great Persian dynasty. This turbulent era was characterized by a relentless ebb and flow of military campaigns, territorial aspirations, and deeply rooted cultural and religious conflicts, ultimately reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and laying the groundwork for future encounters between civilizations. The origins of these wars can be traced to long-standing territorial disputes and rivalries. The Sassanid Empire, founded in 224 CE, was marked by its ambition to revitalize Persian culture and restore the glory of ancient Persia. Under the rule of Khosrow II, the Sassanid Empire expanded vigorously, seeking to assert dominance over the Byzantine territories, particularly in the regions of the Levant and Anatolia. The mutual animosity between the two empires was steeped in both political rivalry and divergent religious ideologies. Zoroastrianism, which predominated in Persia, stood in stark contrast to the Christian faith that flourished throughout the Byzantine Empire. The war began in earnest when Khosrow II sought to reclaim territories lost by the Sassanids during previous conflicts and to take advantage of the Byzantine Empire's internal strife. In 602 CE, he launched a swift and decisive invasion of Byzantine territory, successfully capturing key cities, including Antioch and Jerusalem, and even threatening the Byzantine capital of Constantinople. The conflict waged on relentlessly, with both empires vying for control over valuable trade routes and strategic locations. As the war unfolded, the Byzantine Empire faced significant challenges. The initial onslaught of the Sassanid forces caught the Byzantines off guard, and the leadership of Emperor Maurice, who had ruled for over 2 decades, became increasingly contentious. In a tragic twist of fate, Maurice was overthrown and executed in a coup led by his own troops. This political upheaval drained the empire's resources and morale, leaving a power vacuum that would make eventual recovery more daunting. However, the tides began to turn as Emperor Heraclius ascended the Byzantine throne in 610 CE. His reign marked a critical juncture in the conflict, and a renewed vigor in the face of Persian aggression. With unparalleled resolve, Heraclius embarked on a series of military reforms, mobilizing the Byzantine army and employing bold tactics that revitalized the war effort. Heraclius was not merely a ruler, but a symbol of resilience, determined to forge a path of recovery for his beleaguered empire. The pivotal battles of this conflict showcased the brilliance of both commanders and their armies. The Battle of Nineveh in 627 CE became a defining moment, where Heraclius boldly launched a counteroffensive against the Sassanids. His strategy entailed a daring march into the heart of enemy territory, routing the Sassanid forces and forcing Khosrow II into retreat. This victory was not just a testament to military prowess, but an assertion of hope for a Byzantine resurgence. The devastation inflicted upon the Sassanid army in this critical engagement shattered their morale and led to widespread dissent within the Sassanid ranks. In the aftermath of the battle, the Sassanid Empire faced chaos. Factional struggles erupted, leading to the assassination of Khosrow II by his own son, and civil unrest swept through the regions once dominated by the Persian dynasty. The Sassanid Empire, once a formidable adversary, found itself in disarray, grappling with internal strife, as the tides of history turned decisively against it. The conclusion of the Byzantine-Sassanid Wars saw the Treaty of 628 CE, whereby the Byzantine Empire regained vast territories and reinstated its dominance in the region. The conflict, however, had taken an arduous toll on both empires. The wars had drained resources, destabilized economies, and diminished populations. As the two great empires restructured their identities following the prolonged strife, they also faced the emergence of a new force on the horizon, the rise of Islam. The coming of Islam in the late 6th and early 7th centuries would irrevocably alter the balance of power in the region. Just as the Byzantine and Sassanid empires were exhausted from their relentless wars, the nascent Islamic Caliphate emerged with fiery zeal and unity, ready to exploit the weakened state of both empires. The very territories that had been fought over so fiercely became the battlegrounds of new conquests, as Muslim forces surged forth from the Arabian Peninsula, engaging the Byzantine and Sassanid remnants in a series of conflicts that would change the face of the region forever. The Byzantine-Sassanid Wars serve as a profound reminder of the intertwined nature of ambition, conflict, and cultural exchange. This period of warfare forged a legacy that shaped the political, religious, and cultural trajectories of the Middle East. The struggles endured during these wars underscore the profound impact of leadership, loyalty, and the relentless drive for power that characterizes the human experience. As we reflect upon this epic saga, we recognize that the lessons of these ancient conflicts resonate in contemporary society. They remind us of the consequences of war, the fragility of empires, and the resilience of cultures. The tales of Heraclius's determination, Khosrow's ambition, and the rise of new ideologies remind us of the enduring quest for identity, justice, and unity. A quest that continues to define the human saga. The echoes of the Byzantine-Sassanid Wars remain a poignant chapter in the vast narrative of history, an embodiment of the complexities that shape societies as they strive to navigate the shifting sands of time. The Mongol invasions, a sweeping and transformative series of military campaigns that began in the early 13th century under the visionary leadership of Genghis Khan, unleashed one of the most formidable forces in the history of warfare. This era, marked by relentless expansion and unprecedented conquests, not only altered the political landscape of Asia and Europe, but also reshaped trade networks, cultures, and the very fabric of society. The Mongol Empire would emerge as the largest contiguous empire in history, leaving an indelible legacy that reverberates through time. The roots of the Mongol invasions trace back to the rise of Genghis Khan, born as Temujin in 1162 CE, who would go on to unify the fractious Mongol tribes into a coherent and disciplined fighting force. Genghis Khan's vision was one of unification and expansion, driven by a desire to forge a new, powerful identity for the Mongol people. His remarkable ability to inspire loyalty and his strategic brilliance allowed him to consolidate power, overcoming rival tribes and establishing a unified Mongol nation by 1206 CE. The Mongol approach to warfare was revolutionary for its time, employing a combination of mobility, psychological warfare, and tactical innovation. Their cavalry was unmatched. The Mongol horsemen, famed for their speed and archery skills, could launch devastating attacks with remarkable precision. Genghis Khan's armies were organized into units called tumen, allowing for flexibility and discipline that caught many adversaries off guard. The invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire in 1219 marked the beginning of the Mongol onslaught outside Mongolia. Genghis Khan sought to establish trade routes and secure alliances, but the Khwarezmian ruler, Muhammad II, responded with disdain and hostility, leading to a catastrophic miscalculation. In a show of force, Genghis Khan launched a full-scale invasion, employing a strategy of intimidation that left cities trembling in fear. The siege on the city of Bukhara was ruthless. The city was stormed, and its defenses laid to waste, exemplifying the Mongol tactics of swift, overwhelming force. One of the most notable features of the Mongol invasions was their ability to adapt to the complexities of multifaceted warfare. The Mongols incorporated not only their own warriors, but also the best practices of those they conquered, learning from their enemies and employing their techniques. After subjugating cities, they would often spare the artisans and scholars, integrating their knowledge into the Mongol administration, which laid the groundwork for a diverse and rich empire. As the Mongol Empire expanded westward, it struck the Islamic territories with astounding force. The conquest of Baghdad in 1258 heralded a new level of brutality as Mongol forces besieged the city, leading to the destruction of its rich cultural and intellectual heritage. The once mighty Abbasid Caliphate crumbled under the Mongol onslaught. a loss that sent shockwaves through the Islamic world. The horrific sacking of Baghdad, marked by indiscriminate violence and devastation, became a turning point that illustrated the might of the Mongol war machine and left deep scars in the annals of history. In the east, the Mongols set their sights on China, striking at the heart of the Qin and Song dynasties. Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, would later spearhead the final conquests that led to the establishment of the Yuan dynasty. The siege of cities like Zhengdu, now Beijing, exemplified the Mongol penchant for relentless warfare. Each stronghold fell under pressure, paving the way for Mongol rule in China. The incorporation of Chinese bureaucratic principles into the Mongol governance model reflected a fusion of cultures that would ultimately define the Yuan dynasty. However, the invasions were not merely a tale of destruction and conquest, they also catalyzed significant cultural exchanges. The Mongol Empire facilitated trade along the Silk Road, creating one of the most expansive and interconnected trade networks of the medieval world. The relative peace known as the Pax Mongolica enabled the movement of not just goods, but ideas, technologies, and innovations across vast distances. This cultural exchange profoundly impacted the regions under Mongol control, fostering advancements in art, science, and technology that would shape future civilizations. The legacy of the Mongol invasions is complex and multifaceted. While Genghis Khan and his descendants are often remembered for their devastating conquests, they are also recognized for their contributions to governance, trade, and cultural exchange. The Mongols reshaped empires, facilitated communities, and forged connections that transcended borders. As time passed, the immense empire began to fracture, leading to the emergence of successor states, such as the Golden Horde in Russia and the Ilkhanate in Persia. The remnants of Mongolian might facing challenges from within and external pressures. Each successor state would develop its own identity, influenced by the traditional Mongol legacy and the cultures absorbed during the expansive conquests. The Mongol invasions serve as a timeless reminder of the complexities of human ambition and the impact of warfare on civilization. They illustrate how the pursuit of power can lead to both destruction and remarkable cultural synthesis, changing the course of history in ways unimaginable. As we look back on this extraordinary chapter, we recognize that the story of the Mongol Empire is not simply a tale of conquest, but one of transformation, a nuanced narrative of human ambition, resilience, and the intertwining of cultures that resonates through the ages, echoing the timeless truths of the human experience.